This now tonight, if you were to look up what's one of the most watched series in the world, you'll find The Chosen.
What is probably the most challenging thing that you're dealing with right now?
The crucifix.
For some strange reasons, the hill in Italy, a symbolic set chosen for the ongoing season 6, is eerily similar to Jerusalem. There's the haunting silence before the storm, cameras rolling, Roman soldiers, hammers, nails, and raw emotion filling the air. Even without seeing Jesus, the tension is electric, and yet it goes deeper, tears streaming down the faces of those behind the frames, forcing many to ask, what's really going on set? Why is everyone involved not able to hold it together? And where was Jesus, as played by Jonathan Roumie, in all of this?
It may look like ancient Jerusalem, but it's actually Goshen, Utah on the set of The Chosen. Notice anything familiar? This is the path that Jesus rode in on the donkey. And just over here, the pool of Bethesda, where Jesus healed a paralyzed man. The show has been filming in Utah since season 2, and now season 6 is in production, in a series that creator Dallas Jenkins admits he never really knew would even make it past season 1.
You never know if people are actually going to show up.
The cast and crew of The Chosen left the United States and traveled all the way to Italy to film one of the most powerful parts of the story, the crucifixion of Jesus. But this wasn't just about location. They picked a hill that already had deep meaning. Years ago, this same hill was used for the Passion of the Christ, one of the most emotional films ever made about Jesus. So the land already felt holy. It already felt like it had been soaked in prayer. When they arrived, the mood changed. It wasn't like other days on set. No one was laughing. No one was being silly. Everyone was quiet, focused, and respectful. The air felt heavy, like something spiritual was about to happen. Some said it didn't even feel like work, it felt like church.
Future seasons.
It is no spoiler alert that they did. Little did Jenkins know his show would become one of the most watched series in the world. Having been translated into over 70 different languages, the Faith Meets Film drama documents Jesus' journey to the cross through the eyes of those who knew him best.
My operating principle was if you can see Jesus through the eyes of those who actually met him, you can be impacted in the same way.
As the camera started to roll, no one broke character. Everyone knew what they were filming mattered, and deep down, they all knew it would change them.
My friends, tonight is our last meal together. Will you just please do as I say and not object for once?
The crew set up for the most heartbreaking moment in the entire show, the nailing of Jesus to the cross. They didn't show Jonathan Roumie's full face in the leaked clip to avoid spoilers, but what they did show was enough to move people to tears. Mother Mary stood close, shaking. John and Mary Magdalene held each other, crying softly. The actor playing the Roman soldier stood over the cross, hammer in hand. But even he looked broken. He wasn't just acting, his hands trembled like he was about to do something real.
way they would.
Jesus has been portrayed countless times on screen and stage, but Jenkins takes a different approach, depicting Jesus as he was, human.
There's this thing that you see in a lot of religious circles where Jesus is portrayed as very pious. Sometimes in art, he's a stained glass window or a statue. And I always wanted to remind others that Jesus is not a stained glass window. He's not a...
Then came a sound. One crack, one strike of the hammer against wood. The whole hill seemed to pause. And then tears. Not just from the actors. Extras were crying. Crew members were crying. Even makeup artists and sound technicians were wiping their faces. You could hear sniffles between takes. Some people covered their mouths in shock. Behind the camera, Dallas Jenkins stood with his eyes full of tears. He wasn't just directing a scene. He was watching a group of people feel the weight of what it meant to crucify love itself. And the hardest part? They had to keep going. They couldn't stop to comfort each other. The cameras kept rolling. But something holy was happening. Everyone could feel it. What they were filming wasn't just a story. It was a memory, painful, sacred, and too real to ignore.
So yes, while you'll see him teach and perform miracles, you'll also see a relatable side. A Jesus that dances with his friends at the wedding where he turned water into wine, as well as a Jesus who knows how to joke. Like when Simon Peter asks him to heal Andrew's 2 left feet.
So you help him? Some things even I cannot do.
And these are things that not only don't detract from his divinity, I actually think enhance it.
When the crucifixion scene finally wrapped, there was no applause. No one jumped up to stretch or laugh or chat. Instead, there was only silence. Dallas Jenkins, the director, softly told everyone they could take a break. But no one moved. It was like their hearts were still frozen in the moment. The pain of what they had just filmed clung to the air. Then, quietly, someone suggested they eat. Not in a cafeteria or trailer, but right there, still in costume, still carrying the emotion. So they did. They sat on the ground. Disciples, Roman soldiers, weeping women, and shared food. Someone passed around bread. Someone else poured water. No one gave a speech. There was no music or lighting. Just the rustle of robes, quiet chewing, and a few sniffles.
You're in the midst of filming season 6. Can you share, obviously not giving anything away, what is probably the most challenging thing that you're dealing with right now?
The crucifixion. There's no way to get around the difficulty of that on so many levels, and just trying to be ready for it and trying to just empty myself,
right,
and allow the Lord to just be with me throughout the process.
Is this probably the most physical? Because it's probably taking a physical...
Jonathan Roumie sat among them. His eyes were closed, the marks from the crown still on his forehead. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. He was still with Jesus in some way. Another actor whispered that it felt like communion, like something too honest for words. One man, who had played a Roman soldier, said he felt like he needed to ask for forgiveness. He could barely look Jonathan in the eye.
Beautiful.
The over 250 million viewers seem to agree.
The response all over the world, in every country that we go to, is the same. Thank you for portraying a Jesus who's human and real. And for so many people around the world, that has, I believe, filled a hunger that they had. And I think it's a hunger that existed 2,000 years ago, which is why Jesus...
Dallas later said it was the most real meal he had ever shared on set. There were no cameras rolling, but it became a scene no one would ever forget. It was not part of the script, but maybe it was part of something bigger.
Response is backed up by people not only wanting to watch, but be a part. 600 extras traveled from far
Hello, Alaska.
and near, like Debbie Air from Orem, who's been an extra for 3 seasons now.
It's so neat to be a tiny part of it. And the spirit here is so strong. Everyone loves Jesus. It's not a religious thing. It's a non-denominational group.
few days after the scene, Jonathan Roumie posted a picture on Instagram. It showed him standing beside the cross they had used on set. He didn't say much, just a few lines, but every word felt heavy. He explained that because of the contract he signed, he couldn't share details. But you could tell from his face that something had shifted inside him. He asked people to pray for himself and the entire cast and crew. He said it was the most demanding work he had ever done. He didn't talk about the physical part, like the blood, the crown, or the long hours. He was talking about something deeper, something that lived in his heart. In the comments, other actors replied. One said she had cried all night after filming. Another said she still felt the weight of the day on her shoulders. Some fans didn't even need to know the details. They said they could feel the emotion just from the image. The post was quiet. It didn't scream, but it spoke in a deeper voice. The kind that lingers with you long after you scroll past it.
1,000%. Yeah. I've been training specifically for this season, and so there's been a lot of self-sacrifice in order to bring my idea of how I want Jesus to feel and look for season 6.
We're behind you on this. We want this to be made. How can we be praying?
That I get out of my own way and allow God to just continue to lead me forward.
While most people watching The Chosen are focused on the actors, especially the one playing Jesus, it's easy to forget someone very important, the man behind the camera. Dallas Jenkins, the director, the one who started it all, the one who carries the weight of this story on his shoulders every single day.
Love Jesus.
And that, Jenkins says, is the heart of it all.
My hope is that when you watch this show, you know and hopefully love Jesus a little more. Whether you're a believer or not, there's nothing more rewarding than when people tell you how the show has changed their life.
Season 6 of The Chosen will focus on the final days of Jesus' life, including the crucifixion, an emotional scene that Jenkins says will stay with you long after the...
Dallas didn't just help create The Chosen. He poured his heart into it. From the beginning, this project has been deeply personal to him. It's not just another show. For Dallas, it's a way to share his faith, a way to help people meet Jesus, not just the character, but the real one.
You don't understand now, but afterward you will. Master, we should have done this ourselves, and we're sorry for our pride. But I'm telling you, you will never wash my feet. Brother, just do what he says. Listen carefully. No more of this.
So, when it came time to film the crucifixion in season 6, Dallas wasn't just there as a filmmaker. He was there as a believer. He didn't leave the set once. He stayed for every scene, every moment, every cry. He watched actors fall to their knees in tears. He saw the emotion hit everyone like a wave. But he didn't look away. Between takes, he hugged the cast. He prayed with them. Sometimes he said nothing at all, just sat beside them and let them feel what they were feeling, because there were no words big enough for what was happening. Dallas's wife, Amanda, flew in to be with him. She knew this would be hard. She knew what this scene meant to him, and she knew he would need support. Even strong people need someone sometimes. A crew member later said Dallas cried more that week than ever before during filming. Not because something went wrong, but because something holy was happening, and Dallas allowed himself to feel it. He didn't hold it back. He didn't try to be the tough director. He let the tears come, because the story they were telling deserved real emotion. Later, during a live stream, Dallas said something that touched a lot of people. He said, "This wasn't just direction. This was devotion." It was a simple line, but powerful. It showed that this moment was about more than cameras and scripts. It was about faith, about sacrifice, about love. Dallas believes season 6 has been the hardest season to create, not because of schedules or travel or budgets, but because of the weight of the story. The cross, the pain, the love. He knew what it would take to tell it right, and he gave everything he had.
Moving forward, you need to trust me more than ever, even if you have no understanding yet. I mean this. If I do not wash you, you have no share with me. You cannot be part of what I am doing. Well, in that case, Lord, wash not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.
Now, fans are waiting for the final episode of season 6. It's set to release in theaters in March 2027. Dallas has said it will be a full-length crucifixion film. If the small leaked clips already moved people to tears, what will the full movie do? Maybe that's the goal, not to entertain, but to open hearts, to break people in the best way, to remind us that the cross wasn't just a story. It was the moment love became real, and Dallas, through his devotion, helped bring that truth to life.
And then comes season 7, the final chapter. But after the director calls that a wrap, Jenkins says he's first going to take a very long nap and then get working on more shows, including Moses and the Book of Acts.
What we saw on set wasn't just acting. It was sacred sorrow. A dinner became communion. A scene became a miracle. And people who already knew the story still wept. That's the power of remembering the cross. Not in words, but in wounds. Jonathan Roumie carried that weight. Dallas Jenkins held the vision. The cast lived the heartbreak, and we get to watch the moment it all came together. Have you ever doubted whether God still shows up in art and TV? Or do you consider these mediums too saturated by worldly things for God's use? Kindly share your thoughts and opinions in the comments.